Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something absolutely fundamental: professional appearance and behavior. And this isn't just about what to wear, is it?
Not at all. It's really about the bedrock of trust between you and your patients, especially when things get stressful.
Okay, so let's jump right in with a classic scenario, something you can almost feel. You're running late for a clinic, you're stressed, you're already behind. An anxious patient sees you, comes right up to you and says, "You're late," and then they notice your ID badge is missing. They look you in the eye and they demand an explanation. What do you do?
Yeah, and that's the moment, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
the test. All the pressure is on, and your professional duty is right there in the spotlight. Our mission today is to give you the GMC-aligned principles to navigate exactly that kind of moment.
So let's unpack that. What do the sources actually mean by professional appearance and behavior? Because I think a lot of people just hear scrubs and think, job done.
Right, and that's only the first tiny piece of the puzzle. It's so much broader.
Yeah.
Of course, it starts with things like following dress code policy, being bare below the elbows for infection control, having your ID visible.
The basics.
The absolute basics.
Yeah.
But it immediately extends to your conduct. Are you punctual? If you're not, do you apologize? Do you introduce yourself properly? And then there are the big ones: the integrity of your clinical notes and, crucially, how you behave online.
So it's less of a uniform and more of a constant signal you're sending that says, I am safe, I am trustworthy, I am accountable.
That's it, exactly. And to boil it down, the decision-making in any scenario really comes down to three core rules. The first is that trust always, always trumps convenience.
Okay.
Second, accuracy always trumps speed, especially your notes. And third, digital professionalism is not optional. It absolutely counts.
I like that, a professional compass. So let's get into the official guidance. What are the core GMC anchors here, the things we have to tie ourselves to?
It really all comes from Domain 4 of the Good Medical Practice guidance, maintaining trust. And the bottom line is, your conduct must justify that trust. You have to act with honesty and integrity, full stop.
Okay, be honest sounds simple, but let's be real. In a chaotic hospital, sometimes being brutally honest can feel, well, inconvenient. Admitting you messed up your schedule and that's why you're late.
And that's where integrity comes in. It's not just about not telling lies. It's about being accountable and traceable. If you're late, the GMC expect you to model that courtesy. A quick, sincere apology. No excuses, no blaming another department.
Because that just sounds defensive.
It sounds defensive, and it immediately erodes trust. You just have to own it, explain what's happening next, and manage the situation.
Right. So let's build a practical framework for this. The sources mention a kind of first, next, last approach. Can you walk us through that?
Yes, absolutely. It's a systematic way to make sure you're covering all your bases. So first, you always follow local policy. That's your immediate safety step. Get your ID on, make sure you're following infection control, all of that. Address the rule breach first.
Okay, policy first.
Next, you model courtesy. That's the human part. Introduce yourself. Explain your role. Actively listen to the person in front of you. If you were late, apologize. You're restoring trust through communication.
And what's last?
Last, but it's really an ongoing thing, is you act early on issues. If you see something unprofessional from a colleague or even yourself, you deal with it. You redirect, you escalate if you have to, and you document what you did.
Okay, you mentioned documentation there, and that's where I think things get really interesting. Let's talk about integrity in notes. What is the one thing you can do that just, destroys your professional standing?
It's anything that messes with the timeline. The cardinal rule is you need truthful, traceable records. That means you never backdate an entry, and you never delete an original entry.
Let me push back on that for a second. Say I make a small typo in my notes, I spot it 5 minutes later. Isn't it just clearer for the next person if I put a neat line through it, initial it, and fix it? An addendum feels so clunky.
I completely get why you think that. It feels more efficient, cleaner. But from a medical legal standpoint, it's a disaster. The moment you alter or hide an original entry, you've broken the evidence trail. The GMC is less concerned about the initial typo and far, far more concerned about the act of covering it up.
Because it looks like you're trying to mislead someone.
Precisely. It suggests intent. So the only correct way, even for a tiny error, is a new entry. A dated, timed addendum that says, regarding the entry at time Y on date X, the following is a correction. It preserves the whole story.
Okay, that's a crystal clear line in the sand. Now, let's pivot to the digital world. The classic selfie in scrubs. I see a colleague post one. There are no patients in it. They've been careful. Is that really a problem?
Yes, it is a huge digital red flag. And this is a common failure point. The GMC guidance is clear. Just avoid posting from clinical areas altogether.
Why, though? What's the subtle risk if no one is visible?
It's the context. Think about it. There could be a sign in the background. Or your ID badge could be readable if you zoom in. Maybe a reflection in a window shows something. Even just the timestamp of the photo, combined with where you work, can inadvertently reveal information.
I see. It's about cumulative data.
Exactly. And beyond that, it just erodes public confidence. It makes it look like your focus is on social media, not on your patients. The professional image is damaged.
Okay, so I see a colleague make that mistake. Maybe they've posted a photo and you can clearly see the word rota in the background. What's the right thing to do? Do I comment on the post?
No, absolutely not. Publicly shaming a colleague is a low-scoring option. It's unprofessional and disrespectful. The right approach is always constructive and private.
So pull them aside.
Exactly. You go to them privately, you explain the risk, and you ask them to take it down. You can point them towards the GMC guidance. And if it's a serious breach or they refuse, then you have a duty to inform a supervisor. You handle it professionally.
Got it. Okay, let's loop all the way back to our first dilemma. We're running late, patient is anxious, ID is missing. We have the tools now. What's the top scoring response?
It's about combining policy and courtesy under pressure. The traps are to get defensive or dismissive. So the best response is to stop, pause your rushing for a moment, and look at the patient.
Acknowledge them.
Yes. First, you apologize for the delay. Then you introduce yourself clearly by name and role, and you immediately address the ID issue. You say, "You're right, my ID isn't visible. I'm on my way to get it right now." And then you give them a realistic update on the waiting time.
And the bad answers. Things like, "I'm really busy," or just ignoring the ID comment. Why do they fail so badly?
Because they completely miss the point of the patient's anxiety. They're worried about safety and accountability. When you say, "I'm busy," you're talking about your problem, not theirs. And when you ignore the ID issue, you confirm their suspicion that you might be careless with the rules. Trust is just gone.
And there are secondary actions too, right?
A really great response would also involve letting the nurse in charge know about the delay so other patients can be updated. That shows you're thinking about the whole system and, of course, documenting it later.
This is a lot to remember in a stressful moment.
Right.
We need a memory hook, a mnemonic to pull it all together.
We do. And for this, we can use the word polite. It covers all the core principles we've discussed.
Polite. Okay, I like it. Let's break it down.
So P is for policy first. Always start with the rules. Attire, ID, infection control.
Makes sense.
O is for open ID. Make sure it's visible and correct.
Simple enough.
L is for polite. Listen and apologize. That's your courtesy. Be human, set expectations. I is for integrity in notes, the big one. Always use dated, timed addenda, no deleting.
Right.
T is for tidy digital professionalism.
Yeah.
Keep your online presence clean and professional. And finally, E is for escalate early. Act on issues, don't ignore them.
Polite. That's actually brilliant. It really captures everything. So if we had to summarize the 3 absolute key takeaways from this deep dive, what would they be?
Okay, first, policy compliance plus genuine courtesy is what protects trust and safety. They go hand in hand.
Second.
Second, correct your notes with dated addenda. Never, ever backdate or delete. Medico-legal integrity is paramount.
And the third takeaway?
Keep your digital footprint strictly professional. Your duty to maintain trust doesn't end when you leave the hospital. It's global now.
So putting this all together, the guidance seems really clear that we have a duty to escalate concerns if we see a colleague breaching these standards, especially around notes or online behavior.
Yes, and that's the real-world challenge. Your duty to integrity is stronger than your desire for a comfortable team dynamic.
Which brings us to a final thought for reflection.
Exactly. We've given you the polite framework. But what do you do when you find yourself in a team, a culture where maybe the default is to use casual shorthand in notes or to let little policy breaches slide for the sake of convenience? We'll leave you with this question. How do you uphold these highest professional standards when the environment around you seems to roar the opposite?
A tough question, but a really important one. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Review that polite framework. It really is the toolkit that will support every professional decision you make.